Welcome back to the United Pubcast, the official Man United Supporters Club here in Sydney for a live sort of reaction to the match review. As said, in this pre-season sort of period, we can do these live reactions because kickoffs are at a friendly time. It was a 9:45 p.m. kickoff here in Sydney, and we are going to take advantage of that because when the season comes around and United start playing on Sundays for the UK TV coverage, that means Monday mornings for us in Sydney, and usually like 3 a.m. So here we are. We're going to take advantage. But I just seen a comment from George, so it was probably good evening or good night. Bear in mind that the clock has sort of gone past midnight. So good morning, guys. Good morning to George and the other George as well. Good to see both in here, bright and early this morning or late at night, however you do look at the Saturday nights. But I've got Adam here from the Supporters Club who was on a couple of days ago. So good to have Adam back. And it was just, we'll just sort of wing this one, Adam, a little bit in terms of it was at the end of the day just a sort of a pre-season friendly. It didn't sort of play out like a friendly in regards to physicality. And I think, actually, was Fred actually officially sent off? I don't know. I'll put in the title that he was sent off. But,
yeah. 2 yellows.
So he actually was shown a red card and
went
off the
sent
field.
off.
Okay,
the commentators were not sure whether it affects him for an actual season game. I hope it doesn't.
Couldn't know. Look, who knows? Who knows what will happen? Surely not. But look, who knows? That's definitely. I'm sure that information will come out quite soon. I think the club will sort of try and get ahead of that. And yeah, I can't see a situation where he would be suspended because I think he's probably one of the best players on the pitch today. I think he's, in terms of, we'll go through who's sort of earned a start for that match against Brighton. And obviously we'll have different information in 24 hours when the other team plays, if anyone sort of stakes a claim. But in regards to this performance, which we'll sort of dissect, I think Fred was really good. And not just in regards to his playing, but that energy that he did provide. It was a pre-season friendly, but in terms of the way Atletico Madrid do approach games, it was like a Champions League semi-final for them in terms of their time wasting their antics. Fred did provide that fight, which is good. And man cave, good to see here, boys. They just dropped a video a little bit earlier discussing sort of team selections for over the weekend. So do go have a look at Man Cave United. And Fred sent off with a straight red one game. It will be interesting to see what happens there. Fingers crossed. Surely common sense prevails and he doesn't get suspended, but who knows? Maybe the one game can be the friendly tomorrow. Maybe they can put him on the team list and he can serve his suspension then. But as I said, if you are in the live chat, do get all your thoughts in regards to the game because, as I said, 1-0 sort of pre-season friendly, there's not much to talk about, but there is a lot to sort of dissect and discuss. So, Adam, we'll just start on sort of the start in 11 and the team selection. How much weight did you put into this in regards to viewing this as Eric Ten Hag's whatever start 11 he went for this in the Atletico match is what he's viewing towards Brighton? Or do you think it was just a mixed match of both teams? There's nothing really to read into it? Or did you see that starting 11 is what he has in his mind to start next week?
I think that team starts against Brighton next week, but Sancho comes in for Elanga. I can't see Elanga taking Sancho's spot after his performance today. I'm not saying he was bad, but I think when Sancho plays, you see a better Delo as well.
On Sancho then, look, let's try and stay clear of a transfer discussion and a Glazers discussion and investment and everything. We're talking about we need another midfielder or we need a right back or we need a striker if Ronaldo leaves, all these things. In that wide area, there's been a lot of discussion about Anthony in recent days, and I've sort of said, look, focus elsewhere. We don't need Anthony. Yes, he's a quality player. I'd love to see a player like that at United, but ultimately we don't need that. Suddenly Sancho's sick. And look, I like Anthony Elanga, but in terms of going forward and being successful, Anthony Elanga might not be that player. Suddenly Sancho wakes up a little bit sick and you think, oh, there is a bit of a drop-off to Anthony Elanga there on the right-hand side, especially if Martial is replacing Ronaldo. There's one less wide player because he's going to be playing through the middle. And I'm just thinking there is a drop-off in quality when you get one or two injuries in that forward tree. So, look, let's stay clear of a Ronaldo discussion in terms of what he sort of brings to the squad in regards to just simply numbers and having options there. But in regards to those wide areas, a little bit thin.
Yeah, very thin in my opinion. Anthony, I can't see us signing him. I've seen reports that Ajax want around 100 million for him now. That's more than double, I think, what he's worth currently. But yeah, as we've seen today, way less creativity down the right. We've been looking dangerous in pre-season down the right. Today, not really, in my opinion. No real threat down the right side. But yeah, I think we are lacking the depth in the attack. We definitely need to sign at least one or two more attackers, in my opinion, before the season starts. Well, it won't be before the season starts. Only a week to go now, but we do need at least two, I think, in my opinion, before the transfer window finishes.
Well, you just discussed the right-hand side there. I want to move over to the left-hand side for the first player I do want to discuss, but George just saying here, if Ronaldo didn't make himself available against Vallecano, Ten Hag would have played his first 11 today. However, since Ronaldo news, Ten Hag won't put Ronaldo alone with a string play. I was thinking that, George, but I don't think so. I think it's one of the cases where, yes, there is a case you just can't play 11 kids. You do need sort of a mix of sort of professionals there, but you do look at there's other players who you could potentially argue are first choice players in that. Obviously, Rafael Varane, etc. There is Luke Shaw sick, or has he not travelled? I'm not sure what the situation is with the left back, but on that left back situation, in terms of you go through that team at the moment, Maguire picks himself in terms of a starting 11. Dalot picks himself, De Gea, whatever anyone's opinion of. McFred as a combination, I think they're likely going to start. Bruno obviously picks himself. Martial, Rashford, and as say Jadon Sancho. These are players who very likely are going to start against Brighton no matter what. Left back is a situation where it could be anyone. 1 week we're saying Malacia is the new left back, and 1 week we're saying Shaw's experience will keep him in the team. Off that performance, I think Malacia. No, I thought Fred or Malacia. I don't know who was man of the match in my opinion, but it was one of them. And Malacia, I thought his best display in the United shirt so far.
Yeah, I think that was his best by far, in my opinion. Man of the match for me today. Looked really good going forward. Almost scored a decent shot. I think he played well. I think he does start next week against Brighton. I think Ten Hag has signed him to be a starter for us. I see Luke Shaw being our backup kind of, and then Tellez, I can see him leaving.
Well, I think Tellez is the one, definitely. I think he's potentially on the outer. You just have to look. He's obviously come in and played centre-back and central midfield at one stage. So I think his sort of future at left-back is sort of quite bleak. So, if there is one to leave in terms of the fullbacks, it definitely does look like it's going to be Alex Tellez. But is Luke Shaw happy with maybe a backup role? I don't think so. So that'll be interesting to see how Luke Shaw approaches that. Now, hopefully uses motivation, because we saw when Alex Tellez came in and Luke Shaw had that competition, Luke Shaw became the best left-back in the world. So hopefully this does spur Luke Shaw on a little bit. But my main thing for Malacia was, we can talk about his ability or his position or his crossing or his shooting, whatever. He stood up to a physical test today. Like, he's only a slight lad, but and the way Atletico Madrid do approach these games in terms of their physicality was always going to be a test. But that's what I was mainly happy about, his performance in regards to he was getting stuck in, he was putting his body about. Again, for a pre-season friendly, these are some things you don't sort of truly demand of players to do if they want to sort of back out of a challenge, to make sure they're fit, sort of sit there and say, look, okay, fair enough, it's only pre-season. But he put his body on the line, which is, at the end of the day, all you want to see. Yeah,
I agree. Very strong today. Didn't seem like he got pushed off the ball. A lot of the time it takes players that bit of adjustment period when they come from a league like Eredivisie to adapt. And we know Atletico Madrid are one of the most physical teams in the world, the way they play. Not really they never play as if it was a friendly. Like, thinking it was like a Champions League.
What did you make of Atletico Madrid there? What did you make of that in regards to? There's a big UFC card tomorrow. Maybe you always use an MMA analogy in terms of styles make fights, and there's different types of fighters. Maybe a wrestle heavy fighter, maybe a little bit boring to some people in terms of they can stall a fight a little bit, and you almost say that it's in regards to the way Atletico Madrid play, very time wasting, very physical, very effective, probably the most effective style there is, but like a wrestling style in MMA, but very boring to sort of the neutral sort of thing. In a preseason friendly, are they right in doing that in terms of what they want to do? Are they not just doing this physically, but are they doing it mentally in terms of prepare how they want to play games, how they want to approach games? Or is it just bitterness from me in terms of the way they play? I thought I was so frustrated to watch, because I thought United provided that intensity. They provided that intent to go forward and play football and get that physical in terms of cardio out of the match. And Atletico Madrid were just playing for their lives in terms of, it was like a Champions League sort of away leg in a sort of semi-final sort of thing. They were doing everything they could to wind the clock down, sort of bait the referee. And I just think, did you sort of enjoy that in regards to the test Man United faced, in regards to a different challenge than sort of dealing with certain situations, or were you just frustrated like me?
I was completely frustrated. It was a good test in my opinion, but it's not a kind of team you want to be versing in pre-season. I think, like, the way they come out, that's how they play every week. So that's why I think they do play that in pre-season, that dirty, time-wasting style. Even like they had a couple of players diving for a couple of challenges in a pre-season match. And then the fighting with McTominay in the first half. Yeah, they are grubs, like someone from Man Cave United said. But, I hate versing them. Even in the last year in the Champions League, like the second leg, I think they're out of the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes that were against them, their ball was only in play for like 6 or 7 minutes.
I remember that stat, yeah. Look, definitely a frustrating thing in terms of. But at the end of the day, you do have to learn, because at the end of the day, we got knocked out against them. We couldn't deal with it a couple of months ago. Atletico Madrid went through, so maybe it is a good thing. As frustrating it is, maybe for the players to learn and deal with it, and maybe it is a good thing. But George here saying, want to see the fullbacks give the ball early. Would have moved it around quicker. Still feels slow. Will take time. Ericsson, instant impact. Yeah, I thought Christian Ericsson for first. Well, he has played a couple of days ago against Wrexham, but I thought he came on tidy on the ball, which is all you can ask for. What I liked from Malacia a few times, and I don't know if it was sort of lucky and just the sort of option sort of appeared for him. But getting the ball in the left back situation, playing out from the back, and I wouldn't say it was a long ball, like kick it down the field, down the line, which is sort of a very easy out ball for a fullback. But he played one or two really long passes just in behind the opposition fullback for Rashford, I think maybe Martial at times. I'm just thinking, do you think that was just him seeing a pass and say, look, I'll not knock this in behind because I've got some pacey forwards in front of me? Or do you think it was a tactical thing from Erik ten Hag in terms of where Malacia, you get the ball, your first instinct, whip it down the line to one of the fast strikers? How do you see it? Because it happened 4 or 5 times in that first half.
I think it could be a bit of both. I'm not exactly sure. We haven't really seen that from him so far in pre-season. I think today we've seen that the most. But I think that was Rashford's best performance. He looked pretty good when he was coming in from behind as well, when Malacia played the ball to Bruno, then Bruno did that long ball down the line in the first half. But yeah, it could be. I like the look of it. Rashford looked very well today, and his pace does hurt a lot of defenders.
George here saying, look, which I agree with, but George saying, didn't see the game, but if Atletico played an unattractive brand of football, no issue from me. Team should always play the way they want throughout the season. Look, I'm sure Diego Simeone won't care what we think in regards to the way they play. But and he also says, playing teams like Atletico are good to play in pre-season. We ultimately need work at breaking a low block and no better team than Atletico to practice that. And we're discussing a little bit before we went on air, just on that point. And look, I'm going to stay clear of a Ronaldo discussion. And ultimately, I think Anthony Martial has done very well this pre-season and earned his spot as Man United's number one going into next week against Brighton. I thought Anthony Martial played fine, but it did have a feel, and maybe because Atletico are potentially one of the best in the world at this, maybe would even find this issue, even if we had Erling Haaland or Ronaldo or whoever, even if we had a great striker, maybe would even find this issue. We played well. We looked a little bit dangerous. We didn't look a goal threat, though. And I'm just thinking, is a little bit of a concern, or just one of those games Atletico are good and we're still sort of working our way through? Just what do you make of we did well getting to the final third. When we got to that final third, it was like, we don't really have that striker who's going to grab us a goal here. Yeah,
we did. We were good at, and we did get a lot of chances around the edge of the box. We had the ball a lot near the edge of the box, but yeah, we didn't look like scoring at all today. No chances. I really thought, it took me off my seat where I thought, we might score here. But I'm not sure. I do see if Ronaldo does stay, I think he does start in over Martial, despite the fact that Martial has had a great preseason. I think he was good for the first 20 minutes, but then after that, it was a bit. I don't know how to describe it.
What do you say, Martial? Because me and Larry have this debate every week, and it changes every week. I have no idea what the answer is. At the moment, I'm saying striker. But George here is saying Martial is far better utilised on the left in these sorts of games, would link up really well with Ronaldo cutting in and creating an extra man in the box. Forget the Ronaldo discussion. Anthony Martial for you. Is he a left winger or a striker?
Striker. Can't see him playing left wing at all. I don't rate Martial until pre-season. I've got to put my hands up. I do think he's lazy, but I'm not going to say now, he's our starting man. He's going to score 20-odd goals this season. But he has looked promising. I think he does deserve another chance. But no, not off the left. I think that's Rashford's spot. And then I think Elanga said that in pre-season that's his best position off the left. And then today, obviously, he had to play on the right because of Sancho. But I'd like to see him play off the left, maybe.
Yeah, it will be interesting. And look, fingers crossed, Sancho, just a bit of a bug sort of thing. Hopefully he's fit for next week. Hope it's not COVID or anything, which keeps him out for a little bit. But fingers crossed, because we did sort of lack that bit of quality. And maybe everything changes with Jadon Sancho. Maybe that puts Anthony Martial in different positions. And Anthony Martial scores 2 goals, and we think, what a striker we have. So fingers crossed Jadon Sancho is back and can make a little bit of a difference at the Viking Football Show. Good to see you in here, mate. Atletico, horrible team to play against. Can't stand them. I couldn't agree more. However, in saying that, if every team played the same, it would be very boring. So sometimes you need that villain. You need that team to hate, and Atletico Madrid are that. So, look, yes, frustrating. I hate them, but it is what it is. Yeah. At the end of the day, you kind of sort of weirdly, sort of sickly deep down, kind of enjoy it. You do need teams like that to sort of learn from, because they are good at what they do. I think if we had a player like that, or teams, one of my favourite players over the last decade, Ander Herrera, I think he'll slot straight into Atletico Madrid. We love it when sort of players like that sort of perform and display like that for us. It's very frustrating on the opposition do it. Is there anyone else you sort of want to pinpoint in regards to, look, let's say Fred, because ultimately he gets sent off and you think, oh, yeah, that's not great for any manager and it's not what you want to see in pre-season, but ultimately where we've been in the last couple of years, one of the things we do like as fans is that fight and that sort of passion and sort of getting stuck in. So I'm just thinking, Fred, was that, we talked about Malacia potentially being sort of the best player on the pitch, but if it's not him, I think Fred is a sort of close second behind him. He played weirdly he's played here the whole time under Erik ten Hag in a number 6 role. But what I saw in this number 6 role, he played it by himself. It was I think in the last couple of games, we played 4-2-3-1. McTominay or Donny has played next to Fred. But I think this one, it was Bruno or McTominay as clear number 8s. And Fred played by himself. And I always get very scared when Fred does that. I don't think that's his position or his role. But in regards to the way he played today, almost didn't put a foot wrong until he put a foot on the Morata.
First half, he was very impressive, Fred. Second half, not as good, but I still wouldn't say he was bad. I'd say he had a very good game today. But can he do that in the Premier League against the likes of City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal? I don't think so. And as a lone 6, basically, with a 10 and an 8 in front of him like McTominay, I don't think he can do that. But that's why I think
it's interesting there. In regards to when that team selection did come out an hour before kickoff, we're all excited about Eriksen, Martinez. We're excited. Okay, we're playing good football. If you look at the names, okay, Malacia is a new signing, but he's a young left back. Okay, he's not going to go and win your Premier League title. You look at the names, same team as last year.
Exactly the same, just one position different. That's it. That's what I'm worried about.
So I think that's the thing where we have this positivity, and I think rightly so in certain aspects. Then at other times you do need to sit back and think, well, hang on. We weren't ready at the end of last season. We're definitely not ready now if we've got the same players kicking around. We mentioned Fred there, and obviously you're not a huge fan of Scott McTominay, but George makes a point here. McTominay played not bad today, showed the fight. I think what I took from the McTominay performance, and Fred sort of exemplifies, because I think Fred played very well on McTominay, and look, no bigger fan of McTominay than myself, so correct me if I'm wrong in sort of this over-defense of him. What I saw from him today is what I want. 5 times a season, 10 times a season. Come in, do a job in midfield. Okay, I don't need that to be our sort of main player in midfield. Come in, if he did that 5 or 10 times a season. Okay, we're away at Southampton. Need Bruno Fernandes injured. Need someone to play in the 8. Scott McTominay, come in, do a job. That's what I want to see 5 or 10 times a season. Not Scott McTominay being asked to dictate games against Atletico Madrid or dictate away at Stamford Bridge. That's not his job. So just your thoughts on him, because he's obviously coming for a lot of hate, as sort of happens on Twitter if he doesn't score a goal. So he is public enemy number 1, obviously, after he put the collar up as well in the first half. But what did you make of that McTominay performance? Was it, am I wrong, was he bad? Because I don't think he was, but feel free to give us your honest thoughts on him.
I don't think he was bad, but I don't think he's good. He was good. I think he's just average today. I think Fred is the one that needs to sit deeper. McTominay, when he sits deep, I feel like he doesn't show for the ball enough, and I think he's better going forward than defending. He's got that eye for goals, like what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah, well, I definitely like to see him in that role. And this is not to say me saying he had a good performance in regards to the job of a number 8, but my defense of him in here would be, think of a Champions League quarterfinal, semi-final against Atletico Madrid in terms of the challenges, how tight they make it in midfield. If you're thinking of who would just provide a good performance against Atletico Madrid, it's not a marauding number 8 sort of going box to box, all action sort of thing. The players who stand out against Atletico Madrid is either your centre-back having a great display or your striker scoring a goal. Midfield's always a battle. It's really tight. No one's really sort of going to stand out, sort of real dominant display, because it's always so congested and physical in the midfield. So again, McTominay is not the answer. I'm his biggest fan in here probably. However, if he comes in and does that 10 times a season when needed, I think that's job done. That is where it comes on the board and the manager, whoever, to invest and bring the right players in. So we have McTominay off the bench rather than start in midfield, because, look, his main competition for a position now, Donny van der Beek, a lot of people want him because obviously a far better footballer than Scott McTominay, but is a far better footballer sort of proving his worth over McTominay at the moment? Because at the moment, Erik ten Hag, Donny van der Beek's sort of ex-manager, is picking the Scotsman over him.
I haven't seen anything from Donny that would make me want to pick him over McTominay. And I'm not a big fan of McTominay, but whenever Donny has played, there's nothing other than that assist for Rashford against, was it Crystal Palace on that Tuesday night game? Other than that, I haven't really seen much from him that's impressed me. Today when he come on, non-existent really. Against Villa last Saturday when he was on, non-existent again for me.
If you're the manager against Brighton, you're Eric Ten Hag next week. Fred obviously starts. Who plays now? Now you could make a case where you play Bruno and Eriksen next to each other in 2-8s, but let's say one of them is going to be Donny or Scott McTominay. Who are you pairing in midfield?
McTominay, I think. Yeah. It has to be.
It's an interesting one. And well, when Ralph Rangnick came in, I said, unfortunately, in this interim period, well, not unfortunately for me because I'm a fan of him, but I think you are going to need players like that, and I think that is what Erik ten Hag is doing at the moment. I think ideally he'd love to play Donny van de Beek, but in terms of the challenges that's needed, in terms of just being solid and sort of providing a foundation to go forward and attack and having that physicality, I think managers do trust players like Scott McTominay, even Fred to an extent. I know they look like different types of physicality, but they're both extremely physical, and ultimately, especially against teams like Atletico Madrid, you do need to win that battle before you start playing football. So I think that is Erik ten Hag's thinking at the moment. Viking, appreciate all the support in here, mate. As always, please hit the likes and subscribe if you're new. Definitely, mate. Please do leave a like if you're happy that Man United will be kicking off in a week's time. Well, we've got a game tomorrow, which we'll discuss in a few minutes. But obviously, well, it's actually a Sunday game, so a week and 1 day until we play Brighton. Any other sort of displays or individual performances you do want to sort of stand out or pick out? Maybe someone in the back line. I thought got put under pressure a few times, both with the ball and without the ball. I thought in terms of playing out from the back, and sort of 1 or 2 times we did, or Atletico did get at our back four. So is there anyone you sort of want to talk about there?
I thought Maguire played well. I thought he's been was our best centre-back today. I think he's been our best centre-back all pre-season, to be fair to him. I know he gets a lot of hate, but he's very solid. When that Atletico player, I'm not sure who it was in on goal and he was the last man. I think they did well. Just a couple of passes in the first half, but other than that, I think he had a pretty solid game, to be fair. But even Palestri, when he came on, I thought he did all right. Didn't think it was too bad.
The change from Maguire, and look, it's not a change in terms of what Erik ten Hag has done because he wasn't here last year, but we've seen so often Maguire line up at left centre-back. Whether that's a combination with Luke Shaw or not, he's been our left centre-back. Since Erik ten Hag's come in, he's played on the right-hand side. Do you think that, am I overthinking that by just simply thinking, okay, Maguire's the right centre-back, he's thinking Lisandro Martinez is going to be the left centre-back? Do you think that's that thinking, or do you think he prefers Maguire on the right-hand side over left? But that's what I took from this game. And I thought Lindelof's performed well over the last year. I think Lindelof's actually done quite well. Rafael Varane, you would argue, is our best central defender, but in regards to performances and fitness, he's actually probably a little bit down the pecking order. So let's say Maguire is first choice. In my opinion, from what I'm seeing in terms of how Erik ten Hag is lining him up, looks like it's going to be Maguire Martinez, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's Maguire Martinez as well. That's why I think he has moved him from left centre-back to right centre-back. Otherwise, I don't really see the need to move him from left centre-back to right centre-back. But be interesting to see what was happening with Varane today. Is he still injured or?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening with those Trevors. There's a few players, sure, Varane, players like that. Again, I think a bit of it would be as well, you can't just play 11 kids against Rayo Vallecano. You do need sort of experienced professionals out there and sort of balance that team. Obviously, Ronaldo, big case in point. Now, that's obviously for different reasons because I think it's obviously his first hit-outs. But it is interesting because we talk about squad. Eric Bailly, well, I don't know, was he on the bench or is he going to stay back for this game?
No, I don't think he was on the bench either today.
So we look at it, we're potentially very thin up at the back, and then or up front. I mean, but then you look at the back and you think, well, we do need more squad depth, but potentially you're going to bring in a right back sort of thing. But ultimately, you do look at numbers. We're a little bit stacked at centre back, and I'm thinking there is a little bit of rumours with Eric Bailly going to Roma, which you can understand. I could definitely see that. Obviously, linking back up with Jose Mourinho, and I'm telling you what, Roma are they in the Europa League or Champions League?
No, Europa League because they won the.
I'm telling you, they're a shout now. I'm worried about them in the Europa League.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried about them. And Jose Mourinho, they're putting together a really good team. And obviously, one person who can win a European trophy is Jose Mourinho. I think we're just going to see Man United's name and say, yeah, we'll be favourites for a Europa League. Maybe see who drops from the Champions League. If someone has a bad season, we might have some competition there. But ultimately, I think we just have to straight look at Roma at the moment. So they're our biggest threat to the Europa League title.
Yeah, I think Roma and Arsenal, I hate saying it, but I think them two are our biggest rivals. Arsenal, I've been watching a couple of their games. They look very strong, to be fair to them. I hate them, but
Do you think they're getting it right, or do you think they're just having a good pre-season?
I think they get top 4, to be honest with you. I think they look really solid. I think Zinchenko was a good signing. Jesus, I think everyone was saying a bad signing, but they did overpay for him, but I think it was a good signing. I think Arteta's building a good team. But yeah, like what Viking said with Abraham and Dybala, that's very lethal. 2 up front. Plus, they got
two players I would have taken it if Ronaldo was to leave. One player I potentially would look at is Tammy Abraham, and obviously everyone knows my thoughts on Dybala. I'd love him at United, no matter the definite sort of concerns people have over him. They're 2 players who I would welcome at United if the circumstances sort of did call for it. But ultimately, we look at the squad and say, yes, we need investment. This is not enough at the moment. I think if you look at the facts in terms of, you can say Eriksen's a good signing, Martinez, exciting signing, all these things. At the end of the day, what has happened since the season finished, we've sold, I say sold, but in terms of free transfers, let's say sold. We've sold a World Cup winner in Paul Pogba, a World Cup winner in Juan Mata, a Premier League winner in Nemanja Matic. Our best player is going to leave, and the main player who we want to bring in isn't at the club, in Frankie de Jong. So ultimately, that's what's happened, and how we've addressed that issue is by bringing in a young left back, a free transfer, and a centre back. I'm just thinking we did look at that team selection now before kickoff and we hang on. Okay, yeah, I can see positives here or there, but ultimately it's the same players who let us down last season. So I'm just thinking the performances have been very good in pre-season, Adam. Are we ready though?
No, not at all. Our midfield, in my opinion, was our weakest area of our team last season. It's not that we lack depth in the midfielders. I think we just lack quality. We just lack that guy in the middle of the park who can.
Well, we definitely lack depth now. With those players in Nemanja Matic and Paul Pogba, we needed investment anyway with those two. Those two go out of the door. You're going to need double investment in midfield, and ultimately we've absolutely done no one unless Martinez.
And we haven't signed a replacement for them. Yeah, and then I can't see Martinez not being a centre back for us. I think that's where we signed him. What we've signed him for. I'm not sure with this de Jong things what's going on. I hate talking about or reading about it. Barcelona have spent the most in Europe now as well. And they're talking about trying to bring Messi back to the club, and they can't even pay de Jong his 17 million that is owed.
And Bernardo Silva, and one or two reliable journalists saying Bernardo Silva, that there's something in that they reckon that could potentially happen. So Barcelona, absolute mess. But look, like Atletico Madrid, sometimes you need those villains in terms of clubs to sort of you love to hate sort of thing. And I think that is where Barcelona do stand at the moment. George saying here, top 4, City, Liverpool, Spurs, and Chelsea, or United flip a coin, so Chelsea or United for 4th. What are you thinking there? You talked about Arsenal potentially having a good season there. Chelsea, now, again, this is pre-season. Obviously, there's going to come a time where Manchester City are going to lose a couple of games. There's going to come a time where Man United are going to win a couple of games, and suddenly everything looks sort of rosy and sort of doom and gloom for one club. Chelsea, I understand it's pre-season, and they're going to go run at some stage, and they're going to look very good. They're going to have a bad patch of form eventually as well. I think they could potentially struggle. I don't know what gives me that feeling. Is Thomas Tuchel sort of run his course at Chelsea? And I know there's new owners, and does that sort of change his managerial status? Potentially, but ultimately he's been there a while now, and I think he's done very well at Chelsea. But it just feels a bit, I don't know, stale at Chelsea. They're a little bit sort of short-term. There's no real sort of long-term plan. That's not to say United have a great long-term plan. But Chelsea, I'm just thinking, if there's one team I could see having a poor season, it's potentially them.
I think it is Chelsea that's going to have a poor season out of the big 6. They've lost a few centre-backs. They've only signed one replacement in Koulibaly. Their midfield is a bit weak. Kante looks like he's losing his legs a bit now with the old age.
Even those good players in regards to Kante, and a lot of the players, whether it be Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta's leaving or potentially leaving, or even those experienced players who have been so good for them in previous seasons, not to call them old or they're over the hill or anything, but they're not the players they were. No,
not at all. And then Havertz as their striker, I don't think he's a striker. He's more of a number 10 for me. Then, yeah, and then it's not, for some reason, doesn't look like an appealing club to players. Like Rafinha chose Barcelona, same as Koundé. They can't really seem to get anyone over the line at the moment, but I'm sure they will still go out and spend a heap of cash before the window finishes.
On that, look, we might as well, because we're here, and it's almost bedtime for me, and we'll try and wrap it up really quick in regards I want to tie just the Ronaldo, not the whole Ronaldo discussion, but tie it into Chelsea. This is my fear with Ronaldo's situation, not him leaving the club or staying, couldn't care less. Okay, as everyone says, while I'm a big fan of Ronaldo, it's one player, no one is bigger than the club. Whatever that situation, I just want it resolved very quickly. I can't have it resolved, though, if he is sold to Chelsea, because I think it's exactly what they need. Now, obviously, long term, it's not what Chelsea need. They need a sort of a future striker, and they were hoping that was going to be Romelu Lukaku. Thank God that didn't turn out to be the case. But if we strengthen them, they need a striker. I'd say currently it's Kai Havertz. In a couple of weeks, you could see that being Raheem Sterling sort of leading the line for Chelsea. And if we sell Ronaldo to Chelsea, which I don't think will happen at the moment, I think United would stand in his way. And some would say rightly so, some would say wrongly so. It depends what side of the fence you do sit on. But that is my fear with the Ronaldo situation. Not him leaving, not him staying, no dressing room, no bust-ups, no love for the club. It's weakening us because at the moment we looked a little bit toothless up front with Martial today. That's not to criticise anyone in our forward line, but it didn't quite look like we had that sort of goal in us. Chelsea had that exact same problem, and to give them the world's best goal scorer, that United can't do that, in my opinion. Simply can't do that. Keep an unhappy player on the bench for the season for all I care.
It doesn't make sense to me. If we do that, I'll be so disappointed because we're not just weakening us, we're strengthening a rival that could be battling, will be close with us towards the end of the season for top 4. I don't care if he leaves, to be honest, at this point now. If he wants to go, let him go. If he's happy to stay, let him stay. As if he goes to Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, I don't care where he goes, as long as it's not Chelsea, Arsenal, someone else in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, that's definitely my current feelings on it at the moment. I just hope it was a quick resolution. Unfortunately, it might not be. Who knows? We're definitely having a different debate about this in 24 hours' time when he plays or potentially plays. Jamie from Ireland, good to see you, mate. Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. No issue at all, mate. Well, we can say good morning this time. It's 12:30 in the morning here, so you can say good afternoon. And Viking here saying, I think if Ronaldo was leaving, he would refuse to play tomorrow. Look, a lot of people at the moment, he's public enemy number one. At the end of the day, there's no greater professional than Ronaldo. Like, he's going to play. He needs to prepare for the season. That he might be preparing for another club, but ultimately he's going to be playing when called upon. He's obviously not going to play in this first. He hasn't played yet, so he's obviously going to go into that B team. As I said, hopefully this is sort of solved soon. I don't think it will, unfortunately. Let's hope Erik ten Hag can sort of get his imprint, sort of stand down on the team, and we can sort of get cracking on, because as I say, it's only a few days out to the season start. So anything else football-wise I've missed in regards to that sort of bit of a match review? Any talking points from the match in regards to whether it be Scott McTominay's collar or his sort of shoulder barge on Jan Oblak, which started a little bit of a push and shove, and we obviously discussed the Fred red card, but anything else that stand out in regards to the match?
Not really that I can think of. I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Well, look, it's not often we do this in terms of a match review, and then, as I say, 24 hours later, it should be a match preview. It's a weird situation, which I like in terms of sort of utilising the squad, keeping everyone fit. Do you expect anyone, a Christian Eriksen, maybe Lisandro Martinez, be back on this plane in a couple of hours' time, back to Manchester? Obviously, only short trip from Norway to Manchester, but do you expect anyone, let's say the two big names, Christian Eriksen and Lisandro Martinez, do you expect them to play against Vallecano?
I think Eriksen will get about maybe 45 minutes. And then Martinez, I could see if he's fit enough, 60-odd minutes, I think he'll definitely start tomorrow. I can't see him not starting. I was disappointed for him not to even get a bit of minutes today. I wanted to see him play. I think he's just going to be that player that all United fans just love, just something about him, the way he talks.
If there was a player that was going to get sent off against Atletico Madrid, I think he was definitely one of them. So obviously, if you're going to be nicknamed the Butcher, that's definitely a recipe for Atletico Madrid. But is there a player? Obviously, we discussed that, saying that this is, we thought, pretty much the starting 11 against Brighton, or very much what Erik ten Hag was thinking. Do you think there is a player who could play tomorrow against Vallecano? Look, you can throw Ronaldo into this. Probably not Ronaldo, but any other players. Sort of potentially, do you think they put in a good performance, they're actually potentially going to overtake someone? Like, could it be a Rafael Varane? If Varane plays well, and could he sort of partner Harry Maguire?
Varane is probably the only one that I can see that might start against next to Maguire. I can't see our midfield. I think it's locked off now. I think it's Bruno, McTominay, and Fred starts. Then the attack speaks for itself: Rashford, Sancho, and Martial, and then fullbacks have been great pre-season. I think they both start. Yeah, so I can only see Varane. If Varane plays well tomorrow, maybe he gets a spot.
Could you see midfield 3 against Brighton? And look, not in regards to your thoughts in regards to Scott McTominay, but could you see a situation off what? And look, we've seen a very small sample size, but ultimately he's played against Wrexham and played a little bit today. Could you see a situation where he lines up with Fred and Eriksen and Bruno together?
Yes, but no. I'm not sure how it would
Because Scott
work.
McTominay played pretty high. He pretty much he didn't play number 10, but him and Bruno played side by side. So in terms of where the area of the pitch Christian Eriksen sort of excels in was where Scott McTominay was playing. So in regards to getting a better footballer there, you could argue that Christian Eriksen could be the one who gets the nod.
Yeah, I think when we play these teams who play that low block, who not as good, just the physical teams who sit back, I think that will be our midfield. I think Eriksen and Bruno will both be starting with someone sitting behind like Fred. But I'm not sure against Brighton because Brighton are not too bad of a side. I don't know how it would work.
Yeah, no, look, I think it's hard when we look at forward and we're going to get so excited in terms of team selections going forward for this Brighton game. Ultimately, it's the first game in August. Okay, the team's going to look very different after when the transfer window closes, after the World Cup, after the January transfer window, when there's injuries and suspensions. I think if we look back at a discussion we're having now about team selections or fast forward to February, if we look back now, what the hell were we talking about?
We're talking about, yeah.
I was saying, how is Dalot playing right back? He's a word right back. We've seen these discussions will change over time. So I think that people will lose a lot of sleep if Scott McTominay starts over Christian Eriksen. As I say, it's the first game of the season against Brighton. Is that happening in the Europa League semi-final stage? That's when we have to have a different discussion. So I think everyone just sort of does need to show a little bit of patience, and it's hard when the excitement is high, sort of going into the season. So it will be interesting, but we both sit here, Adam, we both agree, no, we're not ready for the season. While there are positives, overall, we're not ready. We're not ready, but are you confident going into Brighton? Because obviously last time we played Brighton, they spanked us 4-0.
Yeah.
Now, obviously that's not going to happen at all. Touch wood, it's not going to happen at Old Trafford, but obviously Old Trafford is a different story. We're not ready, but are you confident next week?
I'm confident for Brighton, yes. But I'm not I think just the fans will be up for it. The players will be up for a first game of the season at Old Trafford. Ten Hag's first Premier League game. Managing, I think we're ready for Brighton, but for the season,
what's the mood tomorrow? I saw a comment earlier from Man Cave United. I don't know if it was Adam or Emad talking about the crowd. Was it behind the closed doors or stadiums? It'll be. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll be a sellout, but there obviously will be a crowd at Old Trafford tomorrow. The reception, obviously, Erik ten Hag will get a very good reception, rightly so, and sort of everyone's looking forward to that. Cristiano Ronaldo, what reception does he get? It's going to go one of two ways. He's going to be sort of really cheered onto the pitch and sort of, okay, this is your home. Remember who you play for. Or it could, I can't see it turning toxic because I think obviously the match-going fans are very different to what we see on social media. However, it is a friendly. Sometimes they do attract sort of different people to Old Trafford in regards to availability for tickets. And some people don't want to go to the pre-season games, so it opens up seats for other people. Could you see a situation where it gets a little bit sort of hairy for Ronaldo in regards to a reception?
No, I can just see the fans singing Viva Ronaldo within the first 5 minutes of the game as soon as he touches the ball. I can't see it going. I don't know.
What's the right thing to do now? When we're not here, and me definitely not advocating for booing players. Definitely, it's the last thing. I'm definitely not advocating to do that. But in regards to, is it the right thing to? I think always yes to get behind the players. But what is the right way to sort of approach Ronaldo as a fan base in regards to this? Is there a reminder, or is there 100% support, or should there be a little bit of tension in terms of towards his behaviour?
I think it should be a little bit of a reminder, but no booing towards him, nothing like that. Yeah. But again, if it was someone like we were saying last week on the podcast, that if it was Pogba when he was at United and this was him wanting to leave, we know everyone in that crowd will be booing him. Yeah. But it's Ronaldo, so I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah, no, look, it'll be interesting. Look, I'm sure this podcast, I'll only be watching the match live, but when I get home from work on Monday, I'll obviously tune in. And I'm sure the discussion we'll be having on Monday will be solely focused around Ronaldo. I don't like that, but that is the case. That is simply what it's going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. And George saying he didn't say which king will play. Well, Scott McTominay took the reins today. But in regards to, I'll ask you, Adam, to sort of wrap up this podcast. A little bit younger and the younger generation, which is good. I sort of like talking to some of the younger fans and obviously fans older than me. Obviously, a very different perspective of football and sort of the club, etc. There's been a huge debate since Ronaldo sort of logged onto his Instagram account and the king. I've never heard Ronaldo described as the king in regards to Man United fans, sort of towards their players. Those are obviously sort of scheduled for obviously Eric Cantona and before him, the king of Stretford and Dennis Law. The king for you at Old Trafford, like, is there someone? Like, it might be Ronaldo. Like, when someone says the king at Man United, who is it for you?
The king, I'd say for me personally, my favourite player was Wayne Rooney. So I'd say Wayne Rooney for me, but not many people would agree with that, obviously. But I think a lot of people around my age would say the king of football is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And that's just because I'm a lot younger, but I know the older generation won't agree with that.
Yeah, no, it's just something that it's just weird. I never sort of heard it, and obviously it's Ronaldo's own words about himself. If anyone's earned the right to do that, feel free, mate. But in regards to Man United, obviously there's only two who have only ever been labelled, and like Ryan Giggs was never labelled it or anything, or any great players like that. Sir Alex Ferguson was never labelled that. The only two players who properly had that label was Dennis Law. You can see the book behind us. And obviously Eric Cantona, they're the only two that sort of term has ever been thrown at, and it was weird. Obviously, it caused a lot of a debate, and look, that debate is going nowhere. We'll be here tomorrow night discussing it. So if you aren't subscribed and you do sort of fancy a little bit of a chat tomorrow after the fallout of what happened at Old Trafford, please do hit that subscribe button. Make sure you do leave a like on this video if you are happy with Eric Ten Hag sort of, I'd say, influence so far. As I said, it's the same team, Adam. It's the same team. We're not ready. We know this. We need huge investment. The football's night and day compared to last season.
You can see he's got a clear plan, and the players know the plan. I think it's just now about orchestrating the plan, basically, just seeing it happen on the field. We've got excited when we signed Eriksen, Martinez, but I don't think neither of them will start. And it's exactly the same team except for Malacia. So I think we could be in a bit of trouble. It's
still a lot we're discussing a couple minutes ago. It's still very early days. It's one of those things where, and no one's jumped on the gun with Eric Ten Hag in regards to results or anything, but it is something when he came in, we all said, we're going to have to give him time, even if that means years. Give him 2 or 3 years. Ultimately, he hasn't kicked a ball yet. A competitive game, so there has been absolutely no time at all, and we're already saying, is this right? Is he done this enough? Is he sort of getting more out of this player? Ultimately, nothing has happened yet. We've got nothing to go by, really. They've had a few fitness runs, so there's been no information. We're trying to dissect, we'll analyze these performances. Ultimately, we'll forget everything that's done in pre-season this time next week when the whistle goes against Brighton, and that is when it counts. So fingers crossed he can get it done, because I like what I've seen so far from Eric Ten Hag, but things do change when points are up for grabs, and it will be interesting to see how he... Actually, the last thing we're talking about, sort of sentiment in regards to Man United and Old Trafford. Here's one for you. I don't know if it's anything for you. It has annoyed the hell out of me, Adam. Mm-hmm. The dugouts. Did you see how Eric Ten Hag has changed those?
Yeah, so what's he done? Put him in the middle of the field now?
No, they've always been in the midfield. So the old Munich tunnel is in the middle. Obviously, Man United, if you're watching from the TV screen out onto the pitch, Man United's on the right-hand side, and the away team is on the left-hand side, closer to the Stretford end. Now, Eric Ten Hag has changed that. Now, I had never in my life seen the opposite, where Man United will now be close to the Stretford end and the away dugout will be closer to the away fans. I've never in my life seen that, and it's nothing. It's where the players and managers sit. It's absolutely nothing. But for me, it has thrown me. I'm not saying Eric Ten Hag out or anything or sack him, but my God, I'm not looking forward to seeing someone like a Jurgen Klopp or a Pep Guardiola sort of sit where Sir Alex Ferguson sat for 26 years. That's something that is going to, I don't know if it's going to annoy me or should annoy me or shouldn't annoy me. I'm not sure. But it definitely got under my skin last night when I saw it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wanted to change. I don't think it really makes
He gave the reasoning. It's closer to the tunnel for the subs, because obviously the tunnel comes out in the corner. It's shorter. What's it? A couple of meters, couple of feet?
10, 15 meters.
Yeah, so he's obviously got a reason. He's the manager. We talk about giving the manager full control and complete back. If he wants to do it, makes him happy, all for it. And who knows? Maybe it's the change that's needed to sort of rechange our fortunes at Old Trafford. Fingers crossed, because we need something to change. Maybe it is the dugouts. Who knows? But just one more comment here for George before we wrap up. Laporta needs to get a grip. Imagine Woodward carrying on like him. Oh, wait, he said 35-year-old Bastian would send shivers down the spine. Yeah, that Barcelona president, he, as I said, like Atletico Madrid, you need these sort of characters in the game. Otherwise, we'll have nothing to talk about. So as much as Barcelona are annoying us, as much as we hate watching Atletico Madrid, they do add sort of character and sort of spite to the football, which you do need. It can't all just be sort of good free-flowing attacking football and everyone being polite and respectful. You do need, as I said, these characters in the game. So fingers crossed we can get a good result tomorrow, a good performance tomorrow, and someone can stake a claim for a first-team spot against Brighton. But we'll be back with plenty of shows this week as we lead into the start of the season. couple of days, Adam. Goes quick. We talk about pre-seasons. Oh, they're going to drag. They're going to be boring. Ultimately, this pre-season, I don't know if it's been because obviously Australian fans, we had the tour, we're sort of physically present at, but this pre-season has flown by.
Yeah, I think it's just a couple of weeks shorter this year because of the World Cup.
I think potentially, yeah.
I think it's 1 or 2 weeks quicker, shorter, but it has gone. It's flown. I thought at the end of the season, when who was our last game against last season? Brighton, wasn't it? No,
there was one.
we
Palace
lost
away.
1-0. Oh, that's it.
Palace away.
After that game, I thought, what am I going to do now for the next 3 months? No United, I'm going to be bored. But it's flown. And I was just thinking, when's the tour coming up? The tour's so long away. It's came, it's gone, it's done.
Yeah.
So we're ready being back, over a week now?
Yeah, no, definitely. Even I'm back at work. I had that extra week from picking up COVID in Melbourne. I had another week off work, but unfortunately, I'm back. But Viking here, Tom, I appreciate your level-headedness compared to some YouTubers. I appreciate that, mate. Level-headed at the moment. We'll see when we lose 1-0 at Brighton. We'll see if I can sort of keep that level-headedness. But I do try, and I think a lot of people in the live chat sort of whether agree or disagree with me, and I agree or disagree with them. It's always a balanced discussion. I don't think there's any name calling, as you say, in some YouTubers and some big Twitter accounts that sort of some discussions do resort to that. So I do appreciate all the support. As I said, make sure you do leave a like on the video. You're holding your phone now. Bang, click like. It's all done. It does make the world of difference. We do appreciate that. Adam, as always, a pleasure.
All right. Thanks for bringing me on.
No, anytime, mate. Anytime. As I said, with Larry out, he will actually be at the Brighton game. So with Larry still overseas, we'll definitely be having plenty more guests. Adam will jump on the pod a couple more times, hopefully, and obviously some of the other regulars, which everyone is familiar with, they'll be back on throughout the next week or two. And until then, have a good weekend, and we'll chat to you in 24 hours or so after the King, the self-proclaimed King, walks out at Old Trafford, and we'll discuss his reception. But until then, have a good weekend, and we'll chat to you. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.